Hey, it's Forrest. So I get a lot of questions from people that ask me about hotshotting. You know, they want to run cars. A lot of times people contact me in cars, because that's what I run is cars. So they always ask me, they say, you know, should I get a 4-car? Should I get a 3-car? Should I get a 5-car? This and that. A lot of them are non-CDL, you know, their non-CDL, they're running 3-car trailers now. And they say, you know, I'm going to go out and get my CDL and you know, I want to get a 4 and 5-car trailer and get a CDL. Well, here's the problem. First, start doing some math. To get a CDL today, I've heard of programs out there that you can get done for like $4,000, but most of them run between $4,000 and $6,000. So if you think, okay, that's $6,000 you have to offset. A 4-car, 5-car trailer, $23,000, $30,000 used, minimum 20 grand or so. You lease one, $1,000, $1,200 a month to lease one. So you got that expense on it. Now you got to start thinking about the truck. I mean, a 4-car trailer on a 350 or 3,500 is fine. You know, that'll work. But you start going to 5 cars, that 3,500 is probably not going to get it. In fact, I can tell you it won't get it. So then you need a 4,500. So now you're stepping up $10,000 in truck, $15,000 in truck. And then if you're talking 5 cars, the 4,500 is going to pull 5. You're probably better off with the 5,500 when you get to 5 or 6. But either way, you got to start thinking about how much more money am I really going to make? Am I going to make a bunch more money, or am I only going to make a little bit more money? I mean, if you're only going to make a little bit more money, it's the same thing as when people start asking me about the vehicles that they pick up. You know, I hear these guys say, "Yeah, I want to do pickup trucks. You know, I want a bigger trailer. I want one of these 53-foot deals so I can put 3 pickup trucks on me." Yeah. And I say, look how much they pay for a pickup truck. Look how much they pay for a car. It's almost identical. Why take 3 pickup trucks when you take 4 cars, right? So the reality is, if you start wondering whether or not you're going to get a CDL and drive and then get a 4 and 5-car trailer, you want to make sure you ask all the questions. And one of the questions is, does it make financial sense? What if I already got? What if I got to buy extra? How much is all this going to cost? How much more money am I going to make with more cars? Start asking all those things and verse it to that CDL school. Now, here's the next thing. Before you go invest in a CDL, before you go invest in a 4,500, before you go invest in a 4 or 5-car trailer, ask yourself, is this something I want to do for 5, 8, 10 years? Because a lot of those things you're talking about financing for 5, 6 years in order to make the payment reasonable, right? So if you finance something for 6 years and you drive the wheels to make those payments, though you drive the wheels off that thing for a couple of years, it gets grueling out there after a while. Pretty soon you got a wife and kids, especially if you're a young guy, you got young ones at home, you're gone all the time. To make the big money, if you're in Florida, make the big money, you got to pretty much go out of Florida. So now you're gone night after night after night. And after a while, a couple of years or so, 3 years, that starts to weigh on you. So now you've got a 4-car trailer trying to run around Florida, making big payments on a big truck and big trailer, trying to run around Florida and run cars and stay in the States so you could be home like every night or every other night or something, which can be done. I'm not saying it can't. It can be done. But you got to make sure all those things are going to fit you. So I would say this, and I'm not a big one for leasing things, and I mentioned this in another video. If you're thinking about going to getting a CDL and getting a 4-car trailer, because you're going to have a 4-car, you have to have a CDL to get a 4-car trailer. You got a 3,500, maybe you're going to step up and take 5 cars, get a 45. Before you start laying all that cash, start thinking about the money that you're going to invest in that, and how long you're going to really push that, how long you're going to really work at it to pay all that back. Because until you pay it all off, you might as well stick with a 3-car and a 3,500, really. So, just a thought. Hey, it's Forrest. Rare no hat day. So, I would like to say that. Sorry. Hey, it's Forrest. One of the things that I've been recently emailed about was talking about to do a video on everything it takes step by step in order to start getting into hotshotting, whether you're hotshotting freight or cars or whatever. I know more about the car end than the freight end, but the business aspect of it. This video, I mean, I could sit down in the office and, you know, turn my camera on and light it up and do all that, but I would like to say that the first thing you got to do before you start hotshotting is you got to know you're going to want to be away from home, right? That's the first step. Do I want to be away from home? I have a wife and kids at home. Am I older now? So my kids are grown. My wife doesn't like me anymore. I'm divorced. I'm a single guy. Whatever. All these life situations, you're going to want to look at all of that. You're going to want to look at every bit of it, examine all of it to find out whether or not it's going to fit what you want to do to go get in a truck and sleep in the back seat of a dually. I mean, some people like it. I kind of like it. It's fun. Sometimes it's not so fun. But that's the number one thing. Number two, you know there's a mountain of paperwork. I mean, there's a mountain of paperwork. I highly suggest that you go out there and you get yourself a compliance officer, right? That's someone to fill out all the paperwork. There's a lot of them out there. You can Google them. You can look on YouTube. There's a number of them out there. Most of them are fairly reasonably priced. For the time it's going to take you to get it done, it's really reasonably priced. And they're going to work for you continuing. So there's a lot of forms that you have to fill out later, right? You have to send all these MCS 150s, MCS 90s, all these forms that have to be filled out. And most of them are online, but they have to be done with the FMCSA. You know, they checking your mileage and all this kind of stuff that they do. And you have to make sure you stay compliant. That's why they call them compliance officers. It's better to hire one and get that out of your mind, especially if you're an owner-operator and you got your own MC. So you're driving, and then the next thing you want to do after you do that is you want to try to see about getting yourself a dispatcher. I mean, in the very beginning, can you sit in your truck at a truck stop and try to find loads? You can, but think of all the downtime. The one thing about driving hotshot is you're paid by the mile, not the minute. So the longer you sit there fumbling through trying to find a load, let's say you find, you're running cars, you're non-CDL, you're running 3 cars, right? You find 3 cars at $1 a mile, which is going to be very hard to do, but let's say you found 3 cars at $1 a mile. You run those cars, but then you sit for hours in a truck stop, burning fuel, burning your clock. Remember that. You're still going to be burning your clock. Even though you're not running, you're not driving, you're still going to burn your clock because your duty clock's still running. So, anyhow, so you're burning your clock, you're burning all this time, and which is burning your money, and you're sitting there, and you're trying to find something. You push into the next day, or you have to go down for your 10 hours because of what happened. You just ran 6 hours of the front part of your 11 hours off, and you're having to go down because you're 3 hours into that, and there's not enough time to drive. There's so many things. So the next thing you need to get behind a compliance officer, you want to get a dispatcher. There's dispatch services. Some people like them, some people hate them. Sometimes you can find an individual to do it. If you're married, you get a wife or girlfriend or something, you know, if you teach them how to do it, they can keep you moving, because as long as you stay moving, you're making money. When you stop moving, well, you guessed it, you're not making any money. And so you really need to stay moving. So compliance officer, some sort of dispatch that you can run with. The next thing you need to do is you need to really shop for insurance. And you could do that you could do these 3 things, you could kind of interchange them, right? So you can shop for insurance and decide, you know, hey, this is what I want to do. And then somebody gives you a quote on your insurance. Now, if you're going to haul cars, you got to have $1 million. If you're going to haul in freight, you only have $750. To be honest with you, it is a lot cheaper insurance to haul freight, but, right? I mean, I don't like freight myself, but maybe you do. So you want to just make that decision. Do I haul freight? Do I haul cars? And then get your insurance accordingly. So that's the insurance part of it. Sometimes I say, check out the insurance even before you start, because you might find that the insurance, if you have any kind of driving record problems, or if you're young, you might find the insurance is going to be prohibitive. It's like when you buy a truck and trailer. I'm just supposing you've already done that work. You've already found out how much the truck and trailer costs, or you have one or something, or access to one, and you've already done that. So that's a supposition in the beginning of what I'm saying. So compliance officer, some sort of dispatcher, and then insurance. You want to find out what that cost is going to be. Then you need to sign up for the load boards. Once you get all that done and your compliance officer is giving you your MC, so you now have an MC number, you want to get yourself signed up with the load boards. If you're all in cars, Central Dispatch probably the best one. Assertus has a load board, but you really can't get on their load board until you've been down range a little bit. You know, you've gotten some time in the seat. So you really want to go ahead and get yourself onto the main load board, which is Central Dispatch. Now, when you first start your MC, you're brand new, right? The problem you're going to run into is nobody's going to want to hire you in the beginning. They all want seasoned veterans. They want people that are minimum 6 months. Most brokers are looking for a year. Okay, so if that's the case, and it is the case, you want to make sure that you get some time under your belt, and you're gonna have to take crappy loads. Now, some guys will go locally to their car dealerships, hand out a bunch of cards, and maybe get some local direct customer business. If you're doing that, that's fine. So that's the way you start out, right? You decide, I got a truck, and what's this going to cost? You decide your upfront cost, and then you say compliance officer. You find out about that. They're going to give you a price on that, getting all your paperwork done. Then you need a dispatcher. Then you get yourself some insurance. You might want to find out the cost in the beginning, but whatever. You get your insurance going, get on some load boards, and then you pretty much go to work. It's not that difficult if you get the compliance officer and you get the dispatcher. If you don't get those two, there's a lot more work involved in that. But that's why I say to do it. Any other questions, you can just email me or ask me. Thank you for watching.